Welcome back to Colors Are a Crutch. I'm your host, Max Sternberg, aka Wounded Satellite, and I'm joined today not only by my wonderful co-host, Max P. the Italian Man, but also by one of my favorite people in the entire Magic community, a good friend of mine, someone I definitely look up to, and is most certainly on the Mount Rushmore of Kinnan pilots. We have Alex Heyer from Playing with Power here. That's today.
Hola.
Nice. Welcome to the podcast, man. Welcome. Good to have you with
Welcome
us.
to the show.
Yeah.
Happy to be here. That was quite an introduction, Max.
Dude,
that's how he does, man.
Hey,
he does
you
not
know
mess
I
around.
love you. You know I love you. Dude, you gotta hype him up.
He does not mess around. So here's what we're gonna do today, right? So we had a good time last time doing the Doctor Who set review. So we're gonna revisit that, and this time we're gonna take a look at the Explorers of Ixalan, or the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I guess I gotta get
there's an explore mechanic.
Yeah. Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and also some of the Jurassic Park stuff. We're gonna go through a subset of cards. Max and I wrangled. I was like, "That's too many cards. That's too many cards. That's too many cards," and we ended up with the exact same number of cards we had for Doctor Who. And we're just gonna go through them and talk about them from a CDH perspective.
I'm so excited for this one. I mean, I don't think I've actually talked to you about this, but the first booster box of MTG that I ever purchased was Ixalan.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
So that was my first personal big pack opening experience. My second commander deck I ever built was Gizhoth, so I love my dinosaurs. I'm super excited for this one. And it's not just excitement from the set. This is obviously a very powerful set that I think is going to have a much higher number of cards with an impact on the CDH format than the Doctor Who set.
Yeah, I agree. And this is a big set for me, too. Because like you, I came back to Magic when Ixalan had just come out. And my reintroduction to Magic was I built a standard vampire deck, and I ran into a random dude at my LGS who had built a dinosaur deck, and it was just dinosaurs versus vampires every day for 6 months or whatever. So that was how I came back to Magic. So I love Ixalan. Yeah.
How'd you like Ixalan the first time around, Higher?
It wasn't that big of a deal. At the time that when I first played it, it had dinosaurs. I think that was the first time we saw Emerge or Enrage.
Yeah, Enrage.
Yeah, Enrage is a mechanic with the dinos.
And so I was it really went over my head. They didn't offer too much in the terms of CDH at the time, so I was like, whatever. But this set is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Oh my gosh, this is... says a lot of stuff for CDH, so I'm really excited about this.
Well, you want to jump right into it? You want to take our first card here?
Yeah, let's get it. So we have first card is Get Lost, right? It's a 1 colorless, 1 white instant. Destroy target creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. Its controller creates 2 map tokens. Map tokens are artifacts that you can sacrifice for 2, and target creature you control explores. Activate only as a sorcery. I like this. I like this a lot. It to me it's I have actual removal in white. I don't know how relevant the explore mechanic would be in anything else other than CDH, but it feels like this seems pretty good.
Well, it's like Max said, it feeds your dock side, right? Give your opponent two map tokens. Hey, that feeds my dock side. Sounds good to me, right?
If you're a Boros deck, I think this is pretty good. I mean, obviously, this is worse than Swords in terms of being creature removal. Obviously,
is this worse
than
Swords?
The flexibility of, because Swords is 1 mana, exile a creature. So that's for getting rid of creatures. Swords is the pinnacle of everything you could ask for. Mm-hmm. But in terms of flexibility, where you also get to hit planeswalkers now, which more planeswalkers are printed every set. Sometimes we get cheap planeswalkers that are playable. That's not the most important thing in the world. But being able to also hit enchantments is huge. Get rid of the Rhystic studies. Right now, we're in such a mid-range meta. Everyone's mulling for Fish and Rhystic. Being able to get those things off the table is very, very powerful. And normally you have to pick, is your slot a artifact and enchantment hate slot, or is it a creature removal slot? And this is a card that allows you to do both in one card. I really wish it hit artifacts, but I guess we can't have everything we want.
Can't have it all.
White has gotten a lot more flexible with its removal. I guess over the last 6 months or a year, because you got Touch the Spirit Realm, and then you got March of Otherworldly Light, and now you have Get Lost. So you have a nice little suite of flexible white removal cards where you didn't have that before. So I think adding this into the mix is pretty sweet. For a CDH deck, if you're not running black, you're not running green, you don't need those now. You have all the removal you need in white. which is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's pretty. I like this card a lot. I think white has just been like super power creeped.
Yeah, I think so.
Over the past year, for sure.
White was the butt of all jokes, and then they were like, "Here's an Esper Sentinel, here's a Ranger Captain, like here's everything you could ever want to be good at CDH."
It's getting very close to making mono white viable as a CDH deck. I know, shots fired, but it is a thing.
And Charles is happy.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on to the next one, I look at this card, I'm like, sure, okay. But usually when you add a card like this, Max, there's something behind it. So
yes, this is one I'm going to point out where kind of how in the previous card I talked about, yes, it's good for mono white, but I think it's especially good if you're white and red, so it feeds your dockside. This is a card I think is absolutely fantastic if you are a deck that is white and blue, and you are a deck that is already utilizing a card called Transmute Artifact, because now your Transmute Artifact can also get you a board wipe. I'm looking at you, Shurikai. This is, I think, an awesome inclusion in a deck like that. It's the first ever artifact board wipe we've ever had. That's not like a, what's it called? Portal to Phyrexia. It's not some 9-mana thing. Yeah. This is still within playable territory on mana, and it does a lot. Yeah. And most of these craft cards, where we're going to have both sides on the screen, but most of the craft cards, the backside is honestly forgettable. This is one that has like a level of playability to it. It's not a good effect. It's overcosted, but I could absolutely see if I've used this as a board wipe, turning this thing around and flipping it to its backside.
Yeah, and we're talking about, by the way, Unstable Glyphbridge. We haven't actually said the name of the card, but it's an artifact. It's 3 and 2 white is the front side, and it says, when Unstable Glyphbridge enters the battlefield, if you cast it for each player, choose a creature with power 2 or less that player controls, then destroy all creatures except creatures chosen this way. And then you've got the craft mechanic where it says craft with artifact, which is basically you sacrifice an artifact or exile an artifact from your graveyard. It's exile, both are exiles, and then pay white 3, and then it transforms. The other side is called Sand Swirl Wanderglyph, which is a flying 5/3, which is not small. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during their turn, they can't attack you or planeswalkers you control this turn. Or it says each opponent who attacks you or planeswalker you control this turn can't cast spells. So basically, they get to choose: are we going to attack this person, or are we going to cast spells? Because you can't do both.
Yeah, which is nice. I will say I am obviously smooth-brained because I did not read this card thoroughly enough and did not read the line of text that says if you cast it. So you cannot transmute artifact into this for a board wipe, but you can fabricate for it for a board wipe.
I was gonna I didn't want to rain on your parade. I really didn't. But I also read transmute artifact like that. You probably don't want to transmute artifact for this because you still have to pay the difference. So it's still 5 mana no matter what you do.
Yeah, and it doesn't work if you do it that way. So
yeah, and it doesn't work if you do it that way anyway. So I was like,
yeah. And I was also going to say there was another card that did a similar thing. Remember Cataclysmic Gearhulk? Which is the other artifact-based board wipe. But okay, yeah, this card's cute. I don't know how playable
not
it's
as good
really
as I thought
it
was. It became playable, not playable. It's just
I thought it was, dude. I was like, oh my god, I can transmute into this. This is kind of gas.
Okay.
So, like throw it a deck. But
I'm just relieved that finally I look at a card. I'm like, I don't understand. And then usually you're like, well, it does this, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. For once, I was right. It's not good.
Okay, it's a bad card.
You know, it's a good card. Dauntless Dismantler. That's a good card. That's
card is
10 out of 10.
You want to jump us? Yeah, you want to jump us into the next card here,
colorless and a white creature, human artificer, artifacts your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. You can pay XX white, sacrifice Dauntless Dismantler, destroy each artifact with mana value X. Crazy. This card's.
Why couldn't it be green?
Why is it a 1/4? Why is it a 1/4?
Why is it a 1/4? That's another question. It is a 1/4.
Why does it get an extra ability? That's a fucking
you can't even lightning bolt it.
You can't even lightning bolt
this card is fucking wild. This card is actually wild. They power crept Manglehorn and put Blind Obedience on a creature. and it's in mono white, and beyond that, it also has an activated ability that's a board wipe for all the cheap artifacts.
You have
a lot of treasures. That
I just want to make sure.
But the play line of like if someone has a blind obedience and they decide to save up their dockside treasures for a turn before, where they're like, okay, I cast my dockside, I get these 9 treasures, and then I know I'm gonna have a ton of mana on my next turn. Because sometimes when you have a blind obedience out, you get forced into that play pattern.
Right.
Dauntless Dismantler can be like, that's super cute. I would rather you didn't win the game, so I'm gonna pay 1 white and blow up all your treasures and also hit every Mana Crypt and Lotus Petal and Mox Opal on the board.
This card's insane. This card is insane.
Yeah.
I this is my early favorite for the most powerful card in the set. Because it's just,
I agree.
It's just really good. So good. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Like, come on, guys, pay attention.
Yeah, it's just so the more I think about it, the more this card is like just nuts. It's like it's a 3 mana board, like artifact board wipe. That's crazy. That's so nuts.
It's bonkers. Yeah. Bonkers.
It's 3 mana white meltdown.
Yeah.
It's just fucking
again
wild.
Talking about white power creep, man. Come on, guys.
Yeah, It's crazy.
Yeah,
this card is nuts. This card will absolutely see play in a bunch of decks. And one of the things that I really do love about this set, it's almost like a little side thing that I appreciate. At the end of the video, when you look at all the cards that we've said are the best CDH cards for the set, a bunch of them are going to be uncommons.
Yes,
not the rares and the mythics, not the things that are hard to obtain, but the cards that are going to be 10 fucking cents.
How is this not a
rare?
What?
I appreciate.
I didn't even notice that. This is an uncommon. What?
Yeah.
What? This is insane. What are they doing? What are they doing? That's crazy.
Welcome to 2023.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to jump right to the next card because the next card has me kind of excited. And I'll tell you why. First of all, the art it's just amazing. I love the heart in the box. Yeah. This is Dusk Rose Reliquary. It's an artifact. It costs 1 white. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. It has Ward 2. When Dusk Rose Reliquary enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls until Dusk Rose Reliquary leaves the battlefield. So hits an artifact or a creature. Here's why I love this card. Okay, Oswald Fiddlebender.
Yep, same here. Same here. And this is missing the line of text that says if you cast it, so it does work with Oswald.
Right, and you don't have to sacrifice anything. I use Oswald. I sacrifice a treasure or something, and I get rid of whatever I need to. I mean, it's just. And it's got Word 2.
It's power crept. It's power crept portable.
Yes. Yes.
And it has Ward 2. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, you're right. Here.
I love this card. This card. I love this card. It makes me want to play decks that I've kind of abandoned. Like I want to pick up Jessica Timna again, just so I can run this card. Just love it. Love it.
I like that a lot. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a huge fan.
Moving on. Max, why don't you take this one?
Dan, you can tell my wonderful co-host is trying to get to bed here. Look at the speed of these
Let's
transitions.
go.
The next card is called Helping Hand. It is 1 white mana. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is white unearthed, but slightly worse because it doesn't have cycling and it returns the card tapped. But it is mono white unearthed, which we got really, really close to a few sets ago. I think it was one of the Phyrexia March All Be One, whatever one of those sets. They had a card that was like return. It was 1 in a white to essentially do this, and it returned the creature with a 1/1 counter on it. Now we've gone to half the mana value, 1 white, sorcery speed, reanimation, and I don't know exactly what combos exist with this card as of now, but I know that they exist, and I want to find them.
Is this another uncommon?
Yeah, of course.
How? Yeah. What are they doing?
Yeah, this is... So, like, okay, so when I think of this card, this whole set, by the way, the theme of this set for me in terms of archetypes that have been revived, or I think are viable, are Hermit Druid decks, like 100%. There's a lot of really crazy cards that work with Hermit Druid. And this card is one of them because, for me, there's so many lines you can do that allow you to, like, entomb something, and then now cards like Helping Hand, there's a couple other cards in the set and we'll go over them, that like entomb becomes really, really strong, and then you can just put that creature onto the battlefield. Like, yeah, sure. Yep. I'm with it. Yeah, super down.
Yeah.
But having this density of unearthed style effects, like you said, it increases your consistency of doing a card like Hermit Druid very, very well, because it's not trying to reanimate something big and game winning and something that immediately has to be countered to, so it doesn't always draw out the immediate interaction of something like if you're trying to reanimate a Hoarding Broodlord, a Villis, a Razaketh, and all of those are like game winning possibilities like immediately. So people are hard on stopping that at all costs. And there's just less total effects that do it that are at a reasonable mana cost. But when your goal of your deck is to do something like Hermit Druid, where you're reanimating a lower CMC creature, the density of options you have goes up, and therefore the consistency of your deck goes way up, way up. So Hermit Druid is eating this set. I'm curious to see what you come up with some of these cards.
The other thing I like about this card is it makes stacks decks a little bit more resilient. You know, because you can bring back an Archon of Emeria, for example, in colors that you wouldn't normally be able to. If you're in white-green, getting back an Archon is a little bit more of some hurdles to jump over. But this, okay, 1 mana, bring it back, right? You can cast your Dauntless Dismantler, blow up the all the artifacts on the board, and then bring it back again, right? It's just a reanimation effect in these colors where you just couldn't do it before. Make stacks much more dangerous. So I think this card's pretty damn good.
What's the I'm Not a Threat deck?
You talking about Tyam?
Tyam, yeah. Tyam loves this. Tyam's like, thanks. We didn't need more tools, but gracias.
I feel like Tyam wouldn't play this though, because they're so hard on everything has to be a permanent.
I'm telling you, it has a home. It has a home.
Oh, we're
going to see a lot of this. We're going to see a lot of this card, I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a cool one. In non-black white decks that want that kind of recursion, I think it's going to be, very, very helpful.
Yeah, and I think Celestia as a color combo has been just kind of like on the cusp of being CDH viable and just keeps falling slightly short. And this kind of gives it a helping hand.
Elevere would like a word, my guy.
Yeah.
Elevere would like a word.
Yeah. Well, Elevere's going to play this card, isn't it? Right?
Will it? I don't know if it will. We kind of just want stacks effects. Like, we have redundancy for almost all of them, and we've got a lot of creature tutors to just get more.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know if we'll use a cards on this, but it's a consideration. It's definitely a consideration, because getting back an Archon is very powerful. I've seen even some recent games where I've spectated other people playing Elevere. The battles over the Archon are huge, where people really want to get rid of it. So having resiliency is nice. But a lot of times when people get rid of an Archon, they try and win immediately. So it can be give and take.
Yeah.
But moving on, our next card is cool for a very different reason. This card is Redemption Choir. It is 2 white, 4 CMC total. It is a creature vampire cleric with lifelink, and it has Coven. And I know that Coven has some restrictions and makes some extra steps, but this is a Sun Titan. Whenever Redemption Choir enters the battlefield or attacks, if you control 3 or more permanents with different power, or 3 or more creatures with different powers, so the Coven ability, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it's a 3/3. So it is literally just Sun Titan at 66% of the cost, in my opinion. And I know we haven't seen a lot of Safi decks and decks utilizing Sun Titan combos lately, but they exist, and they've now gotten better because they have another Sun Titan.
Yeah, this goes really good in like any deck that has like a creature that makes a token of some sort. So like if you're playing in like Tim Natana decks, this is really good. Like just like any deck with partners, any partner deck is good. This is awesome. Like
because it gets you to Coven easily. Is that what you're saying, basically?
Yeah. Like there's just a lot. I feel like there's a lot of decks that this just is.
But I mean, it's also as easy as Esper Sentinel, Timna, and you play this, and you're good to go.
My problem with this card, like I like this card at the outset. We talked about this a little bit before the show, but I like the concept of this card. The problem I have with it is, without Coven, it just doesn't do anything. It's just a 3/3 with lifelink for 4. And there's going to be a lot of games where you're just struggling to get Coven set up to do something. And even with Coven, I mean, how much Sun Titan are we seeing right now? We're just not.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
But do you think you would see more Sun Titan if Sun Titan was only 4 CMC?
If Sun Titan
and there were 2 of them?
Sun Titan cost 4 CMC, we would see more of it. I don't think we'd see that much more. And then this isn't a Sun Titan before; it's a Sun Titan if you have Coven, right? So
for sure, it is. It has restrictions. I'm not saying it's a staple, but I'm saying it'll see some play. It'll see some amount of play somewhere.
You know what's kind of crazy is that you could actually make an argument that this could go into a Edgar Markov deck.
Oh, definitely.
That could be
Definitely.
really fun. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That could be really fun.
Make the token really
I mean,
easily get back your combo pieces.
I'm such a sucker for vampires. I love this card because it's a vampire card. But I just question whether or not it's really a CDH card or it's more of a sort of high power casual card, which is where I think it really fits.
I mean, the other thing is outside of combos, this is also just a creature that ETBs and gets back under World Breach.
If you have Coven. Yeah.
If you have Coven. If you got Coven.
I'm just going to say that over and over again. If it has Coven.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like it. I think this is fun. All right. We have white has been pretty cool. Blue has a couple cards that I am riveted to talk about. I am so excited.
Yeah, go on.
Enigma Jewel is not the card that I'm really excited about.
Enigma Jewel is not the card.
Can you explain to me Enigma Jewel? Because this has this craft ability, and I need to know more about it. Break it down for me.
So I actually 100% forgot to put the backside of the card onto the sheet. So let me quickly grab that.
I mean, as the editor of the show, you lucky audience, you won't struggle like we are. You will actually get to see the other side.
I'm going to grab it.
But
okay,
it's
copy image.
I'll read it real quick. And the other side is Locus of Enlightenment. And it says Locus of Enlightenment has each activated ability of the exiled cards used to craft it. You may activate each of those abilities only once each turn. Whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. So the flip side is just absolutely freaking broken. I mean,
it's 9 mana to get there, which means this only has the possibility of seeing play in exactly one deck. And that's where I ask our Mount Rushmore man, is this a Kinnan card hire?
I mean, that's the only deck you could really play it in, right? Like, there's no other deck that you can play this in. Making 9 mana isn't very hard to do in Kinnan, but like, do I want to exile all of my stuff to make this work?
Well, so it can do from the graveyard. Craft is from the battlefield or graveyard.
Okay,
so just need 9 mana. No big deal.
Yeah. Okay, 1 mana for 3 to activate Kinnan, and then I don't know if that's taking place of like some of the more easier to utilize cards. I guess the big question is, do I want a hideaway effect? And probably not, but like I like the possibilities, and there's probably a world where something like this could be easier to do. But like I don't think this is getting much play immediately until someone figures out a way to break this.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is pretty similar overall. I had a lot of questions about this card when it came out. A lot of people wondering if it was good enough. And kind of what I compared it to, as I said, this is just bad Omen Hawker.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Where Omen Hawker is the same idea. It's 1 mana. It'll produce 3 for your activated abilities with Kinnan. But Omen Hawker at least provides you one of the activated abilities being a colored pip in blue, and then also the unrestricted additional mana you get from Kinnan with this card is only colorless, versus with Omen Hawker you get an additional blue that you can actually use to cast a Swan Song or something if you had to do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's bad Omen Hawker with just like a crazy broken upside, and it's the kind of card I'll probably like throw in at some point for funsies.
Yeah.
But never play in a tournament.
So I'll be the negative guy, and I'll give you the 2 reasons I hate this card. Okay.
Give me 2.
One, it enters the battlefield tapped. Okay, and CDH, that's a no go, right? That in and of itself is a huge problem. Okay. Number 2, crafting can only be done as a sorcery, right? So now I have to tap out 9 mana on my turn. That's no bueno. That's just no bueno. If I could do it at instant speed and I could do it on someone's end step, okay, fine. I could see this working. If it entered the battlefield untapped, so I could do some kind of combo with activated abilities the turn it comes into play, great. The fact that I could do neither, just for me, kills this card completely. As broken as the other side are, we've seen other cards in the past that have completely busted abilities, but you have to jump through too many hoops to get there, and this is another one of those cards, I think. So
I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I will say, with Dauntless Dismantler in the format, your artifacts are coming in tapped anyway, so who gives a shit?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's fine. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Next one. I'll do this one to start off with. So this is Kitesail Larcenist. It costs blue and 2. It's a human pirate. It's a 2/3. It has flying and ward 1. When it enters the battlefield, each player choose up to one target artifact or creature that player controls. For as long as Kitesail Larcenist remains on the battlefield, that permanent becomes a treasure token. It just becomes a treasure. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, this card's dope. Also very important, it's up to 1. You are not required to pick 1 for each player, so you don't have to turn one of your own things into a treasure.
It's like a wonky Grasp of Fate, kind of, right?
Well, it's Grasp of Fate on a creature.
Or artifact.
No. Like, it is a creature.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So like, it's a lot easier to get on the battlefield in various ways. And what I really like about it is... Well, is it better or worse than Grasp of Fate? I think it's better than Grasp of Fate because of the tutor ability of it. Enchantments specifically are one of the hardest things in the format to tutor for, and that's why when you have these decks that are built around enchantments, they're on like fucking Academy Rector. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of a little deep. Versus, like, so many decks could easily cheat a creature into play in numerous ways.
Yes.
And this being a pirate, so it has synergies if you're in a Malcolm deck. It being just a 3 mana, not crazy expensive thing, and being able to just take away the abilities of so many different permanents. The downside compared to Grasp of Fate is Grasp of Fate does like actually exile things, and so they don't exist on the battlefield, and it's like you have to get rid of the Grasp of Fate to get them back. Versus this card turns them into treasures, so your opponents can just utilize that mana and put it into their graveyard or put it back into the command zone and then get it back a different way. So I think it's worse than Grasp of Fate in terms of what its effect does, but I think it's better than Grasp of Fate in how easy it is to obtain if you need the effect.
So
and the pirate synergies.
The first deck I think of when I look at this card is Malcolm Kedis. Because limited to Izzet colors, sometimes you struggle a little bit with certain key pieces of removal. You get a pirate and you get removal all in one creature with flying, so it's evasive and ward. I mean, it just seems like a really nice card for Malcolm Kedis. I also think it goes really nicely into pretty much any Tymna deck, because it's a great attacker, great Tymna Donger, and it has great utility. So, I think this card's really solid. It won't go in every deck. There's a lot of decks where like it can't be used. For example, I'm never going to run this in Talion. It just doesn't make any sense for Talion. But for all these Tymna decks, I think it's great. Malcolm Tymna is another one where it's just going to be solid.
Yeah, any pirate deck is really like super stoked to see this. Additionally, because it's a creature, you can copy it, which is really good. There's a lot of clone effects in the set, so I don't know. I think this is a great. I like this card a lot. I think this is a great card.
Yeah, one other piece of utility with this card is it says for each player, so not each opponent. So, for example, if you have, a Oko effect on the battlefield, your commander's been Oko'd, you could turn your commander into an artifact treasure and sack it and get your commander back that way. So it does have some additional flexibility that you wouldn't think about at first glance. Yeah. So sweet. All right, who wants to do the next one?
And now, higher, 100%.
Okay, higher. Tishana's Tidebinder. Listen, this card is nuts. Okay, Tishana's Tidebinder is 2 colorless, 1 blue, creature, merfolk wizard, has flash. When Tishana's Tidebinder enters the battlefield, counter up to 1 target activated or triggered ability. If an ability of an artifact, creature, or planeswalker is countered this way, that permanent loses all abilities for as long as Tishana's Tidebinder remains on the battlefield. Man abilities can't be targeted. Okay, this card is nuts. Okay, there is few things I fear as a Kinnan main. This card is one of them. This card's so annoying because you spend 7 mana to activate Kinnan, and then someone flashes out this bitch, and I am so sad. I am so sad because Kinnan no longer is anything I can use ever again. Like, oh god, it just takes your hopes and dreams and throws them in the garbage.
So it's basically a stifle and a pithing needle had a baby, and then stapled that baby onto a merfolk wizard with flash.
Yes, with flash.
But also removed all other abilities. It's honestly, I would say it is closer to stifle mixed with Oko.
Yeah.
Or humility, like
kind of what it
like
is.
a targeted humility. It's
Which I am on the other side of the camp with this card. Like, obviously it wrecks Kinnan. I believe the card is super powerful, and its effect is obviously very, very powerful, but I think the card is bad. And I think the card is bad because who the fuck is going to play this, and who the fuck is holding up 3-mana Stifle interaction?
Listen.
That's what I just don't see. Like, I just don't see people actually playing the card. It's such a good Gotham card, and when it works, it's going to be so good. But the play pattern of having to hold up 3 mana on every turn to use it, and needing to wait until an ability is on the battlefield to counter it, and unlike Trickbind, which Trickbind does something similar to this effect, but having Split Second is huge. It makes it uncounterable. It makes it almost unstoppable in CDH. This you can stop. So it's a weird spot for me. If it was 2 mana, I would be so much more interested in it, but like, even in Kinnan, I think 3 mana is too much. I've been having a whole mana efficiency arc where I've been telling people I'm even cutting my 2 mana interaction into 1 mana interaction. Putting in a 3 mana interaction piece just feels weird.
I've pre-ordered 2 of them anyway.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's going to see a lot of play. I think it's going to take a little while to adjust and figure out how to slot it in and where to slot it in. But I do agree it's not as good as First Glance just because of that damn 3 mana cost. Right. Yeah, if it was 2 mana, it could be like a 1/1, and if it costs 2 mana, it would be much more playable.
Yeah.
But
that's fair. That's
fair. Okay. But it's a good card.
I still like it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see what's gonna happen. We'll see.
You're gonna wreck me with it. I know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for you. You're gonna be the first person I cast. We got some cool black cards. Let's see what these black cards do.
Yeah, I've read this card 3 times. I still don't quite understand it. So,
okay, you want me to explain why this card is good?
This is another one of those cards where I look at it, I'm like, I know there's some kind of there's some kind of underworld breach something here, but go ahead, take it away.
Sort of. So Altar of the Wretched. It is another craft card. The backside is irrelevant. It is 3 mana, 2 and a black. Artifact. When Altar of the Wretched enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a non-token creature. If you do, draw X cards, then mill X cards, where X is that creature's power. Craft with 1 or more creatures, 2 and 2 black, and you can also pay 2 and a black and return it from your graveyard to hand. I have 1 word for you, and I think it'll all make sense, Max. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Dargo.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's Life's Legacy in black for Dargo.
Well, it's an altar. Every altar is good in Dargo, right?
Yes, but regardless of that, it's literally Life's Legacy. It's literally just Life's Legacy.
Yeah, I get it.
If you're on Dargo Silas, you play this.
Yeah, because you can sacrifice Dargo and you mill 7.
You draw 7 cards and you mill 7
cards.
That sounds pretty fucking
amazing.
Great for 3 mana. Like, okay, I play my Dockside, I sack 3 treasures, I play my Dargo, I play this, and I draw 7 cards.
Fair. But would you play anything else? Like, is this good enough to play?
No, just Dargo. Okay, actually, no, that's a lie. I would play this in Yargle and Multani.
Wow.
Which is a deck that does exist, and some people play, and is never going to be top tier, but it's fun as fuck.
Welcome to Colors Are a Crutch, where we explore the casual side of CDH.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, another card that's not on our list of cards for things is the Ancient One, which is a black blue. It's a Dimir commander that has Descend 8. The Ancient One can't attack or block unless there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard. And then you can pay 4 or 2 colorless and a black and a blue. Draw a card, then discard a card. When you discard a card this way, target player mills cards equal to its mana value. Specifically, though, it's an 8/8. It's an 8/8.
Yeah. You would play this in that deck. Yeah.
And it's cracked. Like, that seems insane because it's a 4 mana or it's a 2 mana commander. It's pay 5 mana, draw 8 cards. I'll take it. That's fine.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a little mini ad nauseum.
Yeah,
a little mini one. Which should I even read what the back does on this one?
No.
It's kind of, I kind of want to read it. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. It's Wretched Bone Mass. So again, you have to craft with 1 or more creatures, which is exile 1 or more creatures you control or 1 from your graveyard. Becomes Wretched Bone Mass, which is a creature skeleton horror. Its power and toughness are equal to the total power of exiled cards used to craft it, which is probably not going to be very high. And then it's the oh my god, what is that fucking delve card with all the fucking Sith arms? I don't remember what it's called. It's in like Modern and Pioneer and everything. It's that. So it has flying if the exile card is flying. Same is true for first strike, double strike, death touch, haste, etc., etc., etc. All the different things. So it gets those abilities. Do you know what that black card is called? Hired?
I don't.
I can't remember what it's called. Okay. Well, it's 6 mana. It's 4 black, and it has Delve. And
Magically,
everyone is
it's on
screaming
the
at the
screen
screen
right now. Everyone can read it except
it's
for
on the
us.
it's on the
Everyone knows
screen
what
right
the card
now,
is right
but
now,
I
except for us.
actually don't know.
Except for us.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up. Delve card. Flying.
I'm looking at Ancient one too, by the way. Now we'll put this one up too. That's an interesting card. That card. It only costs blue and
Soul
black.
Flare.
It's just Dimir. That's it.
Soul Flare.
It's really, really good.
Ancient one is cool. I didn't put it in because I don't think it's very good. It's just like for the fucking it's the 1,000th goddamn Dimir Outlet commander. Like how many Dimir Outlet commanders do we have at this point? And I don't think this one is better than Vohar or Rona or
yeah. I
anything
mean,
in
it just
any, like,
it just
serious
wins
way.
the game with Isochron.
Isorev.
Isorev.
Yeah. Which
Why is
every
every
Dimir
Dimir
deck
win
wins with
with
Isorev. Yeah.
So here's my okay. So we've talked with the person who brought up that commander to me, had the opposite like feel in terms of like this commander being better than Vohar or Rona, and I've worked a lot on like. I haven't worked on Rona specifically, but I've talked to people who are actively brewing Rona, and I think Rona's amazing for what it does. I think what this commander offers is an opportunity to go off a little bit of the beaten path and not be quite as telegraphed. Right? Like if I cast my commander turn 1 and then I play Altar of the Wretched turn 2, I'm like, oh, whoa, what's going on? I didn't see this coming. And I love that this commander can do that. It also can play. There's a counter spell it can play that's really funny, where it's a counter target spell unless your opponent pays the amount equal to the greatest power of creatures you control. And so you have like
it's an
pay
8.
8. Yeah, pay 8.
What's the counter called? It's called.
The counter is called.
It also lets you play Stubborn Denial.
Are you talking about?
You can play Stubborn Denial as well.
That's true. You get Stubborn. Are you playing Tinkus's deck? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah. I don't know if he's playing this.
Yeah, I think he cut that counter spell. It's not there
did?
right now. I'm looking at the deck. Yeah. It's not there. I assume it's an instant. I don't see it.
It's an instant. Yeah. But yeah, so it's just like it's one of those things that like I like what Altar of the Wretch does, and I like what the commander does. I also like that you can pay for and not have to tap it to do things. Like you can just do it. So I don't know. It's cool. I don't. We'll see if it actually does anything. So
Well, it seems like it would be a good meme betrayal deck if nothing else, right? Because you can you mill your opponents, then meme betrayal to win. Probably also works with like Bloodchief's Ascension. Although probably not.
I mean, literally, like for the. I mean, honestly, yes, though. But that's like it does everything all of the Dimir decks do. Its advantage is particularly it's a cheap commander, which a lot of the Dimir ones have at this point, with Vohar and Rona also both being 2 mana. Like the specific advantage of this, I think, is cards like Altar of the Wretched. Like exactly that type of an ability. If you are utilizing the fact that it's an 8/8, that is what pushes you towards this commander over the other ones.
Yeah.
I think that's the only real calling card it has.
Yeah. And the fact that Altar of the Wretched is not green makes me really gross. Makes me feel bad. Like, this is a green card. I don't know why we're doing
it. Should be a green card. I agree. I still wouldn't play it in Ginnon, but I don't know, maybe Thrastarga.
Yeah, no, you played another
or something.
Yeah, Savala, whatever.
We can't give good cards to green. That's just
okay.
We did it one time, and we made that mistake never again.
We don't.
It's about that. It's about time, though. I think we come back around to green. You know what I mean? Like, come on, do us a solid.
Yeah. We'll get to green soon. I'm excited.
It's got to happen.
All right, so go ahead.
Oh, we have Francisco is the next card. I've read a lot of these cards. Max P, go for it, big guy.
Yeah. So this is Francisco Fowl Marauder. And this is a black and 1 0/1 flyer. Cannot block. Whenever one or more pirates you control deal damage to a player. So again, it's a 0/1, so it can't trigger itself, right? So whenever one or more pirates you control deal damage to a player, Francisco explores. And the only redeeming quality of this card, in my mind, is the fact that it has partner. Which is a trap.
Huge part
it's a trap, though. It's a trap because
no, it isn't.
I'm telling you, it's not good. This card's not good.
Okay.
Stop it.
Okay.
Stop
You want me to tell you what you don't know about it?
Tell me what I don't know.
Okay. It goes infinite with Walking Ballista and Agatha Soul Cauldron.
Okay.
You put a counter on it. with Agatha's Soul Cauldron, exiling Walking Ballista, and as long as the top card of your library is not a land, it goes infinite. You produce infinite damage immediately on your 2-mana commander.
Yeah, but
while also providing you card advantage throughout the game.
Something on top of your library is going to be a land, right?
You probably play a low count deck. I mean, my buddy Nato, the attraction player that people know, he's been brewing fucking Francisco decks in every goddamn color combination because he's very high on this card and he really likes it. And he's convinced me that it is absolutely viable. He says he is able to consistently win the game on turn 3, like every single time he goldfishes any hand. He is able to assemble that combo.
You said the magic word,
or win in some way.
You said goldfish. You said goldfish.
Yes, I told him very clearly, goldfishing will always make a look deck better. I'm not saying that this is a staple to format or anything. I'm saying it is a viable CDH card that has a cheap, efficient, infinite mana combo with it. It is literally your 2-mana commander, 2 mana from Soul Cauldron, and Walking Ballista kills itself. It is a 4-mana win the game combo with your commander. That is worth mentioning.
Okay,
pretty cool.
That's it. That's it. That's really all it does. You know what I mean? And you could totally pair this with Malcolm. You know what I mean? You could do Dimir Malcolm, and then you have mana and card advantage. This thing provides you card advantage through Explore. It's also feeding your graveyard for graveyard synergies, and then you just fall into this infinite combo.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really cool. So you can actually run this like if this is Malcolm Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! Because then if it's a land, you can just you might be getting enough treasures, right? To remove a counter, or add a counter and then remove it to ping, and then maybe you can you can do another explore. That's very interesting.
I'm just sitting here thinking about it. And don't you want white? Don't we want white? Because if you're gonna run Ballista, we want Helliot too, right? So we want white.
100%. And that's why, so the 2 decks he sent me that I've looked at is he sent me Francisco Ishai for Esper, and that was the one he was really high on. Mm. And then he sent me, I haven't looked at it, he sent it to me yesterday, he sent me Francisco Crom for Grixis. Mm. Which all I'm saying is it is a viable card worth mentioning. I'm not here to tout it as the fucking second coming of Malcolm or anything like that. But it's the fact that it's so cheap and then it has such an efficient combo with it. It's totally worth mentioning. And especially because one of those cards has to go to the graveyard, it turns on, I just entomb for Walking Ballista. And it's very easy to tutor out this combo in black. Very, very easy to tutor out this combo in black.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna try it with Mardu.
It's something. Mardu. It's one of those things that's going to randomly dunk on you when you don't expect it, because you're going to undervalue the fact that Francisco is in the command zone, and then they're going to play out an Agatha Soul Cauldron, and then they're going to entomb, and you're just literally not going to know what they're doing. And they're going to put Ballista in the graveyard, and then you're going to
die. Nice.
Got him, coach.
Yeah. It'll win one tournament, and then everyone will know. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's one of those. It's a brewer's advantage deck for sure. Mm-hmm. But again, what I do really like about it is it's essentially an A plus B combo that totals 4 collective mana, and one of the pieces is your commander.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Very good.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, moving on.
Next card's not that great, but there's got to be a combo with it. Next card is the Grim Captain's Locker, 3 and a black, legendary artifact. You can tap it to surveil 1, and then way more importantly, you can tap it that gives the ability until end of turn. Each creature card in your graveyard gains escape, 3 and a black, exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. This is just black Underworld Breach for creatures.
Yeah, there's I think this works if you have a commander that's a sack outlet. And then you could do things like Stitcher Supplier loops, where you right, or and you also want probably Dockside with Ruthless Necromancer. There's got to be ways to break it in that direction.
This is
100%.
This is just Crick. Crick is super stoked about this.
Yeah, that makes sense actually.
Oh man,
right?
Crick really likes this. Oh Jesus, this is nuts.
I don't think this card is absolutely broken in a generic sense, but I think the right deck will break it if it is built around properly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a very cool card. I mean, anytime you see a card that gives all of something in your graveyard escape.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, I am slightly lower on this card than I thought I was, because I just realized something.
What's that?
Because this has to tap, and it gives each creature card in your graveyard escape.
Yeah, it's a one-time ability.
It's a one-time ability, so it doesn't work with Stitcher Supplier loops because you would have to re-tap it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably still a combo with it that involves something like there's probably still a combo with it, but it's way more complicated and worse than I thought.
Yeah, that breaks it, right? Because you can't do you can't put Stitcher Supply in your graveyard over and over again. You can only do it once.
Because Breach is static. Breach is just static. It has
you can unless you could somehow untap this. I don't see how it works. Right.
Max over here 2 for 2 on these cards. I'm telling you.
There were other ones. Max made me cut some that I would like to. There's one card I want to bring up again at the end of the video. It's a white card. It makes a lot of vampires.
That's gonna be like 2 hours from now, though. So in the interest of getting to that card, we'll move on to the next one, which is our first red card. This is an interesting card. This is Brass's Tunnel Grinder. It's a legendary artifact, costs red and 2. When it enters the battlefield, discard any number of cards and draw that many cards +1. Okay. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, which is basically if any permanent goes into your graveyard from anywhere, if you descended this turn, put a boar counter on Brass's Tunnel Grinder. Then if there are 3 or more boar counters on it, remove those counters and transform it. The other side is a land that adds red. And it says, whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by this land, discover X, where X is the spell's mana value. So basically, it's kind of like, you add discover to every single spell after it's been flipped. Right? And discover is, you look at the top X cards of your library, and you can
no. It's Cascade.
It's Cascade. Right. But it's
it's not look at the top X. It's Cascade.
Well, it's exile. Was it exile at the top of your library?
So you exile from the top of the library. So like if I discover 4, let's say, I exile cards from the top of my library until I hit a non-land card that is CMC 3 or less. And I can either cast it, like Cascade does, immediately, or what's great about Discover and why it is better than Cascade is because if you don't want to cast it, so like if you hit your Fierce Guardianship off that 4-drop, you can just put that card in your hand.
Right. So good.
But I don't give a fuck about this card for the backside. Literally don't give a shit about the backside. I want to play this with Displacer Kitten. End of story. This card is fucking incredible.
Oh, wheel over and over again, basically.
You just keep fucking looking, my guy. You just keep looking. You go through your whole fucking deck. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Okay.
This card's amazing.
With Displacer
Brass Tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few cards that make this card like kind of crazy. It's just, I don't know. I like this. I like what this card's doing a lot.
I want to talk to Shauna and see if she plays it in Niv Mizzet.
Oh, you know what would be really cool with this? Is Grinding Station Breach. With Brass's Tunnel Grinding, right?
Oh, because you discard the cards. Yeah.
So it feeds the breach, cool. Right? It feeds the breach.
Yeah. Yeah,
this card, I think this card has a lot of viability, for sure.
Yeah,
10 out of 10.
I like it.
Do you think he's playing in Niv? Do you think Niv would run this?
I don't think Niv runs in a permanent.
Niv doesn't run Breach. Yeah, but Niv, so again, if you don't care about the descend part of it, if you don't care about the backside and the board counters at all, but just Niv is a deck that does damage by drawing cards and is able to draw a lot of cards and filter those extra lands and things by doing this, and it runs Displacer Kit.
Yeah, it's cool, but I suspect we're not going to see this card play as much as you think it is, because it does cost 3, and that's
100%.
That's priced a little too high.
That's right. That's right.
Because you can still do things like, there's that one, cost 1 red, and you draw 3 cards, discard 3 cards at random. And you run that with Burgie and Underworld Breach.
Burning Inquiry.
Yeah, Burning Inquiry, that's the one. And that combo, I think, does kind of similar effect. And no one's running it right now. Because it just isn't good enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, all right.
It's a lot of pieces. Yeah, that's fair. I think it's cool.
All right, Max, you want to take the next card?
Sure, I will butcher the fuck out of this name. The next card is, I'm going to go with Inti, Seneschal of the Sun. It is 1 in a red, 2 CMC. Legendary creature, Human Knight. Knight is not often a relevant creature type. Human might matter for Cavern of the Souls. But whenever you attack, you may discard a card. When you do, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample end of turn. Who fucking cares? It's nice to, I guess discard synergies maybe. In mono red, who gives a shit though? But more importantly, whenever you discard 1 or more cards, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until your next end step. That is very good. It is cheap, and I think that this is actually a viable mono red commander.
So,
Agreed.
my first thought when I look at this card is this is a Florian card. Because what it will allow me to do is I can attack with Florian, discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Florian. It gets trampled. Yep. Now it's a 4/4 trample first strike, right? Mm-hmm. And when I discard that card, I exile the top card of my library, and then I exile a whole bunch of other cards with the Florian damage. Mm-hmm. So this card seems actually pretty broken, and specifically Florian.
In Florian, this is amazing, for sure.
I did not think about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. And it just snowballs, right? Because I just keep putting +1/+1 counters on Florian every turn.
Mm-hmm.
This card's great. This card's great.
Yeah. You think you're adding it for sure?
I'm going
and then
to
it also like doubles your
it.
Wheels, right? Turns your one wheel into 14 cards.
No.
Because one or
whenever
more.
You discard, whenever it's one or more. If oh my god, that would be. So
but this is also probably like if for those still playing Angie, there's another Angie card as well, right?
Oh, that is a cool Angie one. Mm-hmm. Also, it works really well with Riel.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Which Riel is a card I'm very, very slight sidetrack. I am interested in Riel. Someone did some data analysis, and I took a picture of their data analysis and I put it on the Italian Discord to kind of show this, because there was a thing that someone did on data about draws, where it was on like 6,000 tournament games worth of data, and it showed the decks that had the highest draw rate, and Italian was number one. It was nicely number one with like a very solid data size. But it also showed each deck's win rate in games that didn't go to draws. And Italian had a very solid win rate, and that was all cool and all. But the reason I bring up Riel is Riel also had a very high draw rate. It was like number 3, I think. I think it went Italian, then Zur, then Riel. But Riel's win rate in games that weren't draws was like 35%, something absurd.
That's really
and it had a smaller sample size than Italian. Italian was like almost 600 games. Riel was like I think close to 100. So a smaller sample size for sure. But just seeing that data made me intrigued by the card, because I think it's one of those cards that, again, you get a bit of slack because people are going to undervalue what your commander does because it's not a quote-unquote meta commander. But Riel is stupid strong for people who have not played her before. Like, the amount of cards you get to see in that strategy is wild as fuck.
Yep.
And she becomes giant. Okay, I found the data thing. So it was Talion, then Derevi, then Riel. Zur is on the list.
That makes more sense. Yeah, Derevi makes more sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I actually love this card. I think this card is sneaky good. I think we're going to see it in a lot more decks than you'd think. Yeah.
I like this
Cool.
You know what card I don't think I'm going to see a lot? Trumpeting Carnosaur. I don't think I'm going to see this card a lot.
You want to know? You want me to explain myself once
There's
again?
one deck I could think of for this, but go ahead and explain.
I would like to hear the deck that you are considering
Rocco.
first. Yes. That is correct. The reason that I am considering Trumpeting Carnosaur as a relevant card is two things. One, this card is just dope as fuck, and I had to bring it up because of how cool it is. But two, if you look through game data and tournament deck data, a lot of very successful decks in recent memory are playing a card called Twin Shot Sniper.
Yes, exactly the card.
And Twin Shot Sniper is a 4-mana card. It's 3 and a red, and ETB does 2 damage to something. Or it has a channel ability, which is very similar. I didn't read Trumpeting Carnosaur. Carnosaur is 4 red, 6 mana, creature, dinosaur, trample. When it enters the battlefield, discover 5. Not if you cast it, just whenever it enters the battlefield, which means it's blinkable displacer kid and can go off and that kind of shit. But then it essentially has a channel ability that just doesn't say channel. You pay 2 and a red, you discard Trumpeting Carnosaur, it deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. That is huge. The fact that it is both a removal spell and a ridiculous value engine in certain decks, I think means we will see some amount of play in it because of how much play we've seen from Twin Shot Sniper.
The only difference I see is Twin Shot Sniper says any target, so you can use it as a win condition, whereas you can't do that with Carnosaur. It can only, it's a removal spell and not a kill spell.
Yeah, uncounterable.
I agree, but
really I like that.
Yeah, it is very good.
But considering
it is very good.
Considering Rocco in specific.
Yes.
Rocco is a deck that hard as fuck folds to Drannith Magistrate.
100%.
And Twin Shot Sniper doesn't kill Drannith, and this does.
Yes. Mm-hmm. This is a great card, actually. This card's actually great.
I'm convinced.
Yeah, you're going to see this card a lot because even it's one of those cards where like it's a removal spell most of the time, and then every once in a while you're just going to cast the damn thing and have a 7/6 trampler. That's your like, the board is stacked out, nobody can do anything. I have a 7/6 trampler,
But it also discovers 5.
and it discovers 5, which is fucking crazy.
You discover 5.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And this is also a infinite mana outlet in Hullbreaker lines.
Yeah.
If you are a deck that is utilizing Tidespout or Hullbreaker, being able to discover through in CDH you can get literally any card. You draw your deck with Discover 5 if you can blink the difficulty.
Yeah. I love this card actually.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool.
I have a method to my madness sometimes.
Hey,
that's one I didn't question. I saw that one. I didn't question that one. I right away.
Okay. Higher doubted me. Next up, we have Scytheclaw Raptor, which is 2 and a red, also creature dinosaur. I love seeing dinosaurs. This thing art is ugly as fuck, though. It is a 4/3, and it's whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, Scytheclaw Raptor deals 4 damage to them.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
This is another Florian card, right? First of all, it's a 4/3 attacker. Second of all, I go to storm off on my turn. I do it pre-combat. You stop me by countering my spells. You counter 2 or 3 of my spells. You just took 12 damage. Okay, Florian trigger. I'll look at the top 12 cards in my library. Thank you very much. Card is it's crazy. It's crazy. This is a great card for Florian, and it's just a great card for any of these non-blue red storm decks where you put a bunch of win attempts on the stack and your opponents have to stop you. This just kills them in the process. I love this card.
So I was actually thinking about a blue-red deck when I put this card in the list, because this was a card that made me think of River Song.
Now, the only problem with that is it doesn't say win each opponent. It says win a player.
Yep.
Right. So you can easily like if you're playing an interactive deck, you're playing a blue deck, this card is bad for you, I think, most of the time. Right. It's really good for those decks that are trying to storm off on their turn and don't care about trying to interact,
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm playing this card, only because this punishes people for interacting. Like, even if, right? Like, I mean this more like, let's say an opponent casts ad nauseum on their turn, right? Then your opponents are less incentivized to interact with them, especially if they just die to the raptor. So for me, it's hard to like find a balance. If I want to try winning on my turn and this is my deterrent, I have to do quite a bit, and my opponents have to have quite a bit of interaction for this to be as crazy. But it definitely makes people think twice. Do I want to attack something? Do I want to do something? Do I want to cast a spell? I don't know.
This isn't a card I think will be a staple, but it's a cool card. I think Florian was a really good line for this as well. That makes sense there.
Florian got boosted on the set.
yeah. There's actually there are 3 cards in the set that work for Florian. The next one is the third one, and it's the
best one, I think.
I don't know if it's the best one because those other 2 cards really excite me. Like, I'm really excited about Inti, and I'm really excited about Scytheclaw Raptor. But Zoyowa's Justice, which is the next card, it's an instant, costs red and 1. It says the owner of target artifact or creature with mana value 1 or greater shuffles it into their library. Then that player discovers X, where X is its mana value. Right. So basically, it's kind of like an Abrade. It destroys an artifact or a creature. It's better than Abrade in the sense that it doesn't just do 3 damage to something; it just destroys that creature outright, which makes it a lot more flexible. It does give your opponent the advantage of discovering X, which sometimes could be a problem, right? For example, if I go and I kill a Niv Mizzet with this, right, then they discover 6, which is kind of scary, But most of the time, I think this card is another clean, flexible answer in colors that don't have a lot of good answers, right? In Rakdos colors. So very, very playable, very good. Kind of similar to like Wild Magic Surge. But most of the time, like we talked about this a little bit. I kind of went back and forth. But like if I destroy like a Drenith Magistrate, for example, Discover 2, I mean, what do they? It's gonna go nowhere. Like they're gonna end up with the land.
Enjoy your S%.
Yeah, I don't care. There's nothing. You're not gonna get anything that I care about at that point. So I think this card's.
Well, it won't get land. It is non-land. With Discover.
Yeah,
so it doesn't give them land. But like I really like this card, and what I do appreciate about it is, especially being a Rakdos strategy, which I think mostly it's going to be like Rakdos type decks that are going to utilize this. That don't have the flexible answers. If you're on a Citadel strategy, which most Rakdos decks are, you can use this on yourself, for which Wild Magic Surge you can't. And this is a way to clear the top of your library for Citadel.
Yes. Absolutely.
It also allows you to cast cards with Suspend. And I know, like,
that's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
Who cares about this? I care about this because this set made me want to play Yidris really badly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's right. Discover allows you to just do Cascade things, but better. Okay, this is awesome.
Well, what was it? What was that card from Doctor Who? The Face of whatever. God, what was the name of that card?
Oh, the Face of Bo.
Yeah, the Face of Bo. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, it makes you want to play that as well. It makes you want to play.
Yeah, which I can't say. I'm like considering building Yidris. My buddy Kevin, he's at Varix. He made top 16 the Invitational. He brought Yidris, and I've been playing against that Yidris deck at the LGS for a few weeks, and I've gotten to like brew with him, and I got to play it a couple times. That deck is fun as fuck. Like super absolutely fun. Just straight fun as fuck.
Yeah, very cool. So I have to hand off for this next card because it's green. I don't know anything about green. Who plays green?
Hi, is this a Kinnan card?
Listen. Okay. Ghalta Stampede Tyrants of 8 mana, 3 green, 5 colorless. Legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, Trample. When Ghalta Stampede Tyrant enters the battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay. It doesn't go in every deck.
12-12.
It is a 12-12. It's 12-12 Trample. It's big boy.
Yeah. Dick.
Okay.
Dick.
So it doesn't go in every deck, but there's a deck that I have. Of course, it's Kinnan, but it's a list called Big Flips, and Big Flips is a interaction-less deck. I think it has like 4 pieces of interaction total. And it loves creatures. I think it's on like 45 creatures. And your goal is to put all your creatures into play all the time. And this card made me, I slam dunked this card into getting Big Flips.
So let me just ask you this. So what you're telling me is you're going to activate Kinnan. You're going to flip this Ghalta. You're going to put the Ghalta onto the battlefield. And then you're going to put the Consecrated Sphinx, the Void Winnower, and I don't know, Nyx Bloom Ancient onto the battlefield from your hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
You did 100%. It. You solved. Yep.
Exactly.
You understand the deck now.
That was it.
Dear God. Dear God.
That was Big Flips.
Dear God.
Yeah. Big Flips is hilarious, bro.
So
Big Flip, dude. Literally every single card that I've like cut from Kinnan, they're all in Big Flips.
They're all in Big Flips. Like so.
They're all in Big Flips.
So if you want to know the line with Big Flips in with this card specifically is you get Tishana, Voice of Thunder, and you soul bond it with Deadeye Navigator, and then you flip this guy out, and then you draw your deck, and then you keep putting all the creatures out with Ghalta.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I don't ever want to see that ever.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
If you ever want to play a deck that's like technically a CEDH deck, but not really, but you just want to have just fun, you play Big Flips. That's the deck you play. It's the funnest deck I've ever played.
I built a similar version to Big Flips when I was just like, I want to play all these cards that I cut, and it's like it's so bad.
It's so bad. I mean? But
it's so bad, but it's also so funny.
So
because you get some games where like you just hit the same cards and it's just like, oh, I have a Void Winner or a Hullbreaker and I won the game and it's the Kinnan thing, whatever. But then you get some games where you're flipping Kinnan and you're like, here's this card that you know I don't play. Like here's a Terastodon, here's a Jingataxia's Progress Tyrant, here's a Coma, like here's all these things.
Here's all the things. Enjoy these problems. Enjoy these big ass creatures that do things.
When people are like, can you interact? I'm like, nope. Deal with it.
Sorry, bro. Anyway, so that's Ghalta. Ghalta's fun. Ghalta's really fun.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Ghalta's very fun.
I'm scared.
And I once again ask you the same question for our next card. Is this a Kinnick card?
Oh my god.
Is this a big flips card?
Is this Ojer or Ojer? What do you think?
Ojer. I don't fucking know.
Ojer.
Ojer Kaslem.
Deepest growth. Okay. Legendary creature god. 5 mana. Wow, that's a lot of text. Trample, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. You may put a creature card and or a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest onto the bottom of the in any random order. Combat damage only, though. Okay. And then whenever it dies, return to...
But doesn't care about CMC.
Yeah, it doesn't care about CMC. And then whenever it...
Doesn't care about CMC.
Whenever it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control.
I forgot to put the backside again.
I thought the backside was welcome to. I was like, whoa, it's a saga that also transforms? This is crazy.
Let me find the backside. I got it. Okay, the backside is Temple of Cultivation. Tap at a green, and you can pay 2 and a green and tap it to transform it back into Ojer Kaslem, only if you control 10 or more permanents and only as a sorcery. So you have to have Ascend.
Oh, okay. I don't really want the backside.
You're never going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. The front side.
Yeah,
cool,
I don't care.
Yeah.
Front side's cool for big flips.
For big flips, yeah. This is a big flip card. I don't think this is a Kinnick card, but it is a big flip card. Anything that says it has to deal combat damage, I'm not putting in Kinnick. Like, that's too slow.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
I actually think this looks like it could fit into like a Kodama deck. Right?
Why?
Timna Kodama, because you get double trigger, right? So you deal 6 damage. You look at top 6 cards. You get a Sidisi. He puts Sidisi into play, and then you get to put something else into play, and you just combo off from there.
I see what you're doing there.
Yeah, but so what I've learned about Kodama Timna lately, because me and Hire had a conversation like 2 days ago. Hire, can I explain how gas this line is that you told me?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Do I have the freedom? Do I have the freedom to explain how gas this line is? So
for
the trick with Kodama, it's not to just get Kodama triggers. Like, that's fun value, but that's not the point of the deck. The point of that deck is that you are cheating a fucking Razaketh in play. And what you do is, when Razaketh comes into play, there's a Kodama trigger that you put on the stack, and you hold priority on that trigger, and you sacrifice Kodama to Razaketh, and you get a really special card called Protean Hulk. And then with the Kodama trigger, you cheat that Protean Hulk into play, and then immediately sacrifice it to your Razaketh, and win the game.
Yeah. It's gas.
Which is one of my favorite lines I've heard in a while. Yeah. That is fucking so gas, dude.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. It does sound like fun.
So maybe we get Ghalta in there. I don't know. Anyways.
It's 8 mana.
You crazy green mages, man.
Wait
crazy
a second.
Green
Wait
mages.
a second. That's 8 mana and does cheat Protean Hulk into play. Honestly, maybe.
Who knows? The real Kodama Timna decks are playing. I think Broodlord and Acerak. I think those are the main.
Acerak.
Acerak's cool. Because Acerak, you can go infinite with Acerak by itself. That's cute. Correct. That's super cute.
And you can do it fast, real fast.
You can do it very, very, very quickly. You just cast Kodama and go for Acerak.
That seems like a really good line. I still would want to do the Razaketh thing because that sounds way more fun.
So much more
fun. But Acerak, it seems cool. Moving on to a card that I refuse to cut for flavor purposes. It is probably not a CDH card. If you want to skip this section, that's fine. But if you want to hear just like really cool flavor, I apologize about the lack of other really cool flavor. My sleepy co-host made me cut a bunch of cards. But this card is called Welcome. It is called Welcome to ... and sneak peek. The back of the card is called Jurassic Park. So it's called Welcome to Jurassic Park. It is a saga with 3 chapters. The first chapter, for each opponent, up to 1 target non-creature artifact they control becomes a 0/4 wall creature with Defender for as long as you control this saga. So, you put up the walls. Step 2, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample. It gains haste until end of turn. So you put up the walls and you put dinosaurs into the game. And then, what happens when Jurassic Park becomes a real movie? The walls fall down. The dinosaurs are out. Saga chapter number 3. Destroy all walls. Exile this saga and return it to the battlefield as Jurassic Park. And Jurassic Park is 2 really cool things. It is a Gaia's Cradle for dinosaurs, so you add 1 green mana for each dinosaur you control, and it's an Underworld Breach for dinosaurs. Each dinosaur card in your graveyard has Escape. The Escape cost is equal to its card's mana cost, plus exile 3 other cards. So is literally escape. It is Underworld Breach and Gaea's Cradle for dinosaurs. It is literally two of the best cards in Magic combined into one card. If you're playing dinosaurs,
oh my god,
this is one of the greatest.
You're so giddy. I love it. You love it. Max is so giddy. He's like a kid. He's like bouncing in his chair right now. He's so happy.
I have a dinosaur deck. It is one of my favorite decks, and I play that deck. Let me tell you, I play my dinosaur deck when I want to not think. That dinosaur deck is my casual deck.
Is it Zakama?
It is. It's Ghalta. It's Ghalta. Not Ghalta. It's Gizhov.
Okay, yeah.
So I literally I have like 20 pieces of ramp in that deck. And for the record, there's no mana grip. There's none of that bullshit. It is fair ramp, not CDH ramp. I think it has a Jewel Lotus and a mana ball, but whatever. But so I get out Gizhov. I swing with Gizhov, and mathematically I put on average 2 to 3 dinosaurs into play. And they are fucking huge. And you know what goes really well with that? A Gaea's Cradle / Underworld Breach for my dinosaurs. That sounds fun as fuck.
Yeah, that's pretty cracked.
That's cracked as shit.
Are you going to bring that with you to Atlanta? Because if you do that, I'll have to bring my my Bears deck, and we can play.
Do you want me to bring my casual dinosaur deck to Atlanta?
And then I'll bring my Bears deck, and we can play.
Okay, I'll bring a bunch of casual decks because my other favorite casual deck is Tribal.
I have one casual deck,
that's enough. I've shown higher the Tribal deck. Higher, how fucking fun does that deck?
Super fun. Super fun.
It is super changelings and then a bunch of cool lords, and you do everything in Magic that you ever wanted to do.
Yes.
When you experience having a Maskwood Nexus and a Magda on the battlefield, and you swing at someone for lethal, and they try into Fairy's Protection, and you say, "That's cool. I have a Maskwood Nexus and a Magda, so I'm going to sack these 5 treasures I just made with my creatures, and I'm going to put a Spell Stutter Sprite into play to counter your Fairy's Protection." When you've tasted that joy. It's so good. Same kind of joy I'm going to feel when I play fucking Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
So much happiness in this podcast. So much happiness.
So cool.
Yeah, so
Love
much.
It. Love it. All right.
And we're about to get to these artifacts, though, and these artifacts are so spicy.
Dude,
they're very
love
spicy.
These.
You want to kick us off? You want to kick us off?
Yeah.
Do it.
Is it?
Pronounce this word.
I don't want to. I'm gonna go with Chimil, Chimil, the inner sun.
I think I would have taken that line.
Yeah. Spells you control. Oh, it's 6 mana. Jeez, 6 mana legendary artifact. Spells you control can't be countered. Okay, what are we doing right now? At the beginning of your end step, discover 5. What are we doing right now? This is
Card's
so
good.
dumb.
Yeah, card's good. It's good.
Oh my god. That's so silly.
Is this a Liberator card?
Yeah, Liberator's stoked to see this.
Dude, I'm dropping this into Italian, man. Let's go.
Are we?
Discover 5 on end step. You can't counter my counters. Oh yeah, let's go.
Yo, we should put this in canon, bro.
Should we? I've thought about it. I've actually considered it.
No, you don't put
this. But the problem is what if you discover 5 in your end step and you hit Basalt Monolith? I guess then they can't counter your Basalt Monolith.
That's fine. I'm down. I think I'm down for any single thing. Imagine you end step. In my mind, I'm right. This is peak enjoyment. I'm cashing this for 6, and then end step I get a Seedborn Muse. That's
that'd be really fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna try this card out and get in for sure.
Wait a second. I just realized something about the Discover mechanic.
Oh god.
Discover mechanic includes the number that it is. So Discover 5 is look for a card mana value 5 or less. When we were talking about all these old cards that we brought up before, as example, the red land that flips around and you discover X, where X is the spell's mana value, that means it is better than Cascade in 2 ways. You get to keep the card in hand if you don't want to cast it, but also if you discover X where the cost of your spell is 4, you can actually hit a 4-drop.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be less than.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cracked.
Yeah,
it's definitely way better than Cascade. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is cracked as fuck. Okay.
Yeah, the card's great. I mean, Discover's great. The mechanic is great. This card's, I mean, if we're being honest, we're not going to play this card. It's just too high costed.
You're not. I'm playing this in canon.
Yeah, you're not. I'm 100% playing this card.
Watch Kinnan win rates plummet after the set.
Yeah.
Ghalta and Chimil the other side.
All right. So moving on to a card I'm definitely not going to play. I'm definitely not going to play this card. Even though it's really sweet and casual would be fun. The Millennium Calendar. Right? Costs 1 legendary artifact. When you untap one or more permanents during your untap step, put that many time counters on the Millennium Calendar. Okay, so kind of like a what do you call it, mesmeric orb in a way, right? Right, but it's one or more, so you're only going to get one counter per untap step.
No. You put that many.
What do you mean?
So if I untap 10 permanents, I get 10 counters. It's whenever one or more permanents you control untap, put that many time counters.
Oh, holy shit! Okay, all right.
Yeah, so doubles, it gets there pretty quickly.
It gets there very quickly. But really importantly, the reason I want to bring up this card is because I get to call back to the Doctor Who set. Because there is only one commander in all of Magic that cares about time counters. And that is a card that we didn't even talk about. And it's called, you're going to put this on screen, Max. It's called Kate Stewart. It costs 1, a blue, a red, and a white. So you get to be in Jeskai. Whenever you put one or more time counters on a permanent you control, you create a 1/1 white soldier. So you start making an army every time you put time counters on things. But then it has a second ability where whenever Kate Stewart attacks, you may pay 8 mana. If you do, attacking creatures get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of time counters among permanents you control. So how would you like to pay 8 mana and all of your creatures are swinging for hundreds of power?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's fucking wild.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and like this also like works with like hardened scales. Like there's a ton of cards that like make this viable that already have synergies with commander stuff already.
Oh, proliferate in general.
Well, that just adds one, but which also we didn't read the other two.
Well, the other,
so you can pay 2 and tap it. You can pay 2 and you can tap it. You can double the number of time counters, so that's huge. But then also when when there are, I just want to say this very clearly. When there are 1,000 or more time counters on the Millennium Calendar, sacrifice it, and each opponent loses 1,000 life.
So funny.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. By the way, the math works out. If you go from 1 to 1,000 just doubling, it's 17 times to get to 1,000. But obviously,
that's not
a lot less than that because every untapped step. So it's still going to take. I mean, to get to 1,000 count, it's still going to take like 3 or 4 turns minimum.
100%. But it's a 1-mana artifact, so it's not like it has a huge start cost.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of decks are going to play this. I think it would literally be your Kate Stewart to play this. But the fact that it is a 1-mana artifact that in a Kate Stewart deck can just happen to give your team absolutely 100% lethal power, while at the same time being a secondary win condition in a stacked out board state, kind of wild.
Well, it also just wins the game with Isoref. Right. Period.
No. Oh, yes. If you can just untap it infinitely, it also wins the game at Isoref. I've never been more excited to trick bind a trigger in my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
All right. Who wants to take the next one?
I want to know what this card does and explain.
Roaming Throne?
Yeah, Roaming Throne. Yeah.
Do I need to explain?
Yes.
Okay, so Roaming Throne is a 4-mana artifact creature golem, 4 colors mana. It has Ward 2. It is a 4/4. As Roaming Throne enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Roaming Throne is the chosen type in addition to its other types. If a triggered ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional time. I'm going to say one word that is the main reason I'm playing this card, and the second word is another deck that explains I can play this card. Number 1, Magda. This is an artifact dwarf that doubles your treasure production. This will 100% be an absolute, unquestionable staple in every Magda deck in existence. I have talked to several Magda pilots about this card, and I think it is one of the best cards ever printed for Magda of all time. It is top tier incredible. It combos so easily. It makes your life. You can do your Magda combo with so many less dwarves now and so much more quickly. This card is absolutely wild, and it gives you another artifact dwarf that's legitimately playable.
Right.
Which, if you look at how deep these decks are going to get an artifact dwarf, they are liquimetal coating things. They are playing this fucking weird artifact that you choose a creature type and then you have to pay more mana to turn it into a thing. They're playing morph lands that do weird. They're playing the weirdest shit to get artifact dwarves that are the most unplayable garbage you've ever seen. This is an artifact dwarf that has so much additional synergy and power. It is the best thing to ever happen to the archetype. And another deck that could totally play this is Eureka.
Yeah, Sure.
I don't think it's the best Yuriko card, but just like doubling your Yuriko triggers.
That seems pretty good.
That's totally valid.
Yeah, seems pretty
That's
good.
like totally valid.
And like the way that Yuriko plays, you normally are going to be drawing this off a Yuriko flip, and it being 4 is not irrelevant.
No.
Right.
And like Yuriko is totally fine to just like play a creature and sit back. Like, okay, I play 4 mana, play Roaming Throne, attack with Yuriko, get 2 Yuriko triggers from that 1 Yuriko attack. I have 2 more mana held up to fuck your day.
Hey, I can put that in Florian. And get 2 Florian triggers, right?
There you go.
You could. Like, genuinely, you can choose Vampire and you could double. Like, this card is significantly better than I think people thought it was. Like, looking at it.
It still costs
it's kind of
4,
wild.
though, so it's still pretty high costed, but probably worth it. Probably worth it in a lot of decks.
Yeah.
Not every deck. But...
One question people were asking was if it worked with Kinnon's mana ability.
No.
Turns out the answer to that is no, because it's not a full triggered ability on the stack. Mana abilities aren't triggered abilities, even though they trigger off of mana stuff. So that doesn't work with Kinnon. It doesn't work as like another additional extra mana.
It would double Talion triggers, though, right?
Yes, it would double Talion triggers. So if you play this in Talion, every card that casts a trigger Talion triggers it twice. They lose 4 life, and you draw 2 cards.
God, can we not? Can we not? For the love of God.
It would also trigger Shieldred. So, like, depending on the board state, we could name Fairy or we could name Praetor or whatever, and we could double every Shieldred life loss as well.
That's pretty hot, actually. Yeah.
It's kind of hot.
Wow. Speaking of cards that I'm really excited about, Dino DNA is a card that
Max wanted to cut this card. He specifically told me to take this off of the list, and I actively told him to go fuck himself just for you.
Yeah.
Why don't you like this card? Dino DNA, 1 mana, artifact, imprint 1, tap, exile target creature card from a graveyard. Activate only as a sorcery.
Any graveyard.
Pay 6, create a token that's a copy of target creature. Exile Dino DNA, accepted as a 6/6 green dinosaur. Activate with trample. Activate only as a sorcery. Come on, you don't want to make Dockside, infinite Dockside dudes?
I do, but you need 7 mana, and you need Dockside count of 7.
Or 4 in Kinnon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Sorry.
But you
Every
can't run
time.
Dockside in Kinnon. Yeah.
Yeah, but it exiles from any graveyard.
Yeah. So if there's a...
Max B gets it. He gets it. Still not impressed.
Yeah.
What do you mean? This card is fun as fuck. This goes in the fun Kinnon deck immediately.
It's adorable. The card is adorable. It's not playable, dude. It's just not.
What do you mean?
There's so many better infinite Dockside loops that you can do that are just more efficient than this.
Yeah, but you can just get this off an Urza Saga trigger.
Yeah, you can. That's true. That's true.
You know,
it's like extremely accessible.
Can you run Urza in your command zone? I mean, Urza Saga in your command zone. If you can't, then you can't consistently get Urza Saga. So it's just not.
I like how you are with Florian as we are with Kinnon, and it makes me really happy about this.
That's so true.
Like, for the record, you got hyped about Scytheclaw Raptor.
Hell yeah!
And we didn't give a shit. Just so you're aware.
Yeah, I know you
like,
did. I know you did.
But
that card's so good.
But we got excited for you because we like your excitement. Let us have our fun.
Okay.
We've had a lot of fun. We've gotten some cards that are horrible. We're so hyped about.
I mean, Ghalta got me hyped up. This one doesn't get as hyped.
Oh, that's fair.
So.
That's fair. Let's see.
Wins the game.
Does Saheeli do it for you? Maybe let's check this.
Yeah. How do you like Saheeli?
Nope.
Yeah. How do you like? We're into multicolored cards.
Nope. It's cute, but there's just better copy cards that do more things.
Yeah, but there's one deck that plays this.
Yeah, you're talking about oh my god, what's the name of the stupid card? The captain.
Seriously?
Sisei.
Yeah, Sisei Weatherlight Captain. It is a 2 mana, 2 color pip legend that clones your Dockside.
Yeah, you're right. In that deck, it's great.
So real quick, there's actually a little bit of viability playing this as a commander, because all you need to win is a Imperial Recruiter. So you need this, and you see it on the battlefield. Cast Imperial Recruiter. Imperial Recruiter grabs Dockside. Cast Dockside. Let's say you make like 5 treasures. Sure, make 5 treasures, and then you can, at that point, you can make a choice to copy your Dockside, which is cool, or you can do it at the end step of whatever turn. But if you copy the Dockside and it makes 5 treasures, You can like start your turn with 8 treasures, and from there you can just copy the Imperial Recruiter again to grab like whatever to grab maybe Kiki, cast Kiki, copy the Imperial Recruiter, grab Intruder Alarm or something like or grab Drift of Phantasms, which then can search for Intruder Alarm. It's just a lot of like really like one card does a lot of stuff kind of deck. And I really like that. And like it turns your Imperial Recruiter into a toolbox of what do you want to do to win. It does the same thing with Spellseeker.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a snowball deck. It's like very much a snowball deck.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I don't know that it's really strong enough to be viable, but it definitely, I think definitely at least fringe playable. I like it.
I mean, it's in the right interactive colors, and it like I think the Imperial Recruiter line specifically, it's a one card win con.
Spellseeker. There's got to be a way to break it. Spellseeker.
Yeah,
too.
like they both are just one card win cons with this commander when you find the right line, and I think that this is the kind of deck that has the potential to snipe a tournament because no one's going to be afraid of you.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Not a single. Even you.
Like absolutely no one's going to be afraid
kind of
of
that
you.
Lavala dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Not Lavala. Sure. I mean, Inala dynamic.
Inala. Oh yeah.
Kind of Inala.
Yeah. Similar idea.
Cool.
Cool.
Not bad.
What's the next one?
Not bad.
Yeah. Not a commander, but I mean, it could be a commander technically, but you would never play it as a commander. And also, like, I'm sorry, we have had uncommons in this set that are actively better than this card. Why is this a mythic? I don't know. Sovereign Okinec Ahau. 2, a green and a white. It's a legendary creature, Cat Noble. Cat's getting some really good hype this set for some fucking reason. We're on Ixalan, not wherever they're from. Ward 2, 3/4. Whenever it attacks, for each creature you control with power greater than that creature's base power, put a number of 1/1 counters onto that creature equal to the difference.
Okay.
He's playing one deck.
So Max, the one deck. You're talking about Rin and Series CDH, right?
No, I'm talking about Elevir.
Not
where all of my creatures.
Not Rin and Siri?
Bro, imagine. Okay, so in Elevir, I'm already hitting people with like 8 to 10 power Drannith Magistrates on like turn 4. Now, what if that Drannith Magistrate was 15 power the following turn and 30 power the turn after that, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Like, this snowballs at incredible fashion, because if I have a roll token, like, take one creature, my one creature that is 1 power, and it has a roll token on it that's giving it plus 5 power. So it's a 6/6, and then I attack with Sovereign in that creature, and so that turn it becomes an 11/11, and then the following turn when I do it again, it becomes a 21/21.
Yeah, I get it.
Like it snowballs at.
Essentially, it's a stacks deck finisher is what it is.
Yes, over like 2 turns, because two if you have an army of roll tokens, this wins in 2 turns, 100%, because every creature becomes lethal in 2 turns.
Does this work
I'm not
with
saying it's
Najila at all?
No, because they have to have power greater than their base power.
Okay.
So like Elevir puts the roll tokens on your creature.
Right.
So because they have the roll token, they all have ridiculous power buffs. And that's why like I'm fucking hitting people with 10 power Drannith Magistrates off.
Got it.
But this will just make that 10 power Drannith a 20 power Drannith and then a 40 power Drannith.
Yeah, but I've already scooped.
Which is
already scooped by then, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god, what do you know? A Hermit Druid card. Higher. Boom.
Squirming Emergence was actually the playing with power spoiler card. So this is the Golgari Savine's Reclamation. Return to the battlefield target non-land permanent in your graveyard with mana value less than or equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. I really like this card. I think it's really, really good. I think if you're on any type of graveyard stuff, you're probably playing this card. It allows you to have a pretty cool intuition pile that's similar to what you would see in a Savine's Reclamation pile. You have to be a little bit more careful, but I think this is a great card. It's a slam dunk in any Golgari deck for sure.
This card makes me want to play like Jund Breach, because you could do like a coloring ritual, right? Wipe the board, and then Squirming Emergence your Breach back into play.
Yeah,
and just win the game from there, right?
Yeah,
that seems pretty.
No,
hot.
this card is cracked.
Yeah, the fact that you can cast
this card
Emergence
is amazing.
off of Culling Ritual is actually like disgusting.
Yeah.
Like that's a line. That is a real line. Culling Ritual, Squirming Emergence, Breach.
Yeah.
GG's.
Because you can also like you can play Breach to get back your Culling Ritual and then play Squirming.
Well, because I've seen that play pattern blow up in people's faces all the time when they go and they try to do, Breach and then get their Culling Ritual back, and it just doesn't work. Sorry, you blow up your own Breach. You're done.
But now it does.
Now it works. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah, this is a card. I imagine we'll see it in Slimefoot and Squee. I imagine this will be played in potential for Corvald. This is also another reanimation effect for Dockside, which is huge. Yeah, this is a super super good card. I love this card. I hate it because it works with Culling Ritual, and that means I will see more Culling Rituals, and I hate Culling Ritual with a fucking passion.
Same.
But
yeah, well, I'm gonna play this card in Will and Max. Is what I'm gonna do.
That sounds like a good time.
I don't even know what that does.
Will's the Stranger Things commander. When the ETBs, everybody gets to investigate, so everybody creates lots of clues, which makes it really good. With
That's
Ritual.
Orzhov.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
okay, what colors is Max?
Max is red green.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
so your Timnatana colors.
Yeah.
It's Sans Blue. It's a Breach deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
100%. 100% you play this.
Really hot in that deck. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
right. Cool.
Who's ready for this next card?
Fuck this card.
This card's terrible. It's almost good. Like
no.
It's
what do you mean it's almost good? This card's amazing.
How is it? How is that great? Explain it to me. Like, okay,
I'm sorry.
It's wait. No, I'm looking at the wrong card. I'm like, no. This is the card I'm thinking of. Yeah, it's like a Grand Abolisher. That's why it's good.
It's way more than Grand
Abolisher. Yeah. No, I'll tell you why I reacted that way at first. Because when I first saw this card, I'm like, ooh, I can make this into a commander because it has card advantage. This is not a commander. This goes in the 99, and it's quite. It's very, very, very good in the 99. Of a lot of decks.
Goes in the 99 of 2 decks. Goes in the 99 of 2 or 3 decks. Very, very well.
Which ones are you thinking of?
I think the best 2 decks for it are Najeela, because this thing's a fucking warrior.
Oh my god. Why would they?
Goddamn stupid reason.
What the fuck? Why did they do that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a warrior.
By the way, this is read the card, because we haven't even read the card yet. So no one.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna attempt the pronunciation here. I'm gonna fuck it up. That's fine. Kutzil, Malamet, Exemplar. 1 green, white, 3 mana, legendary creature, cat warrior. Why is everything a cat on Ixalan? I still don't know. 2 abilities. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Super important. Grand Abolisher effect. And then secondarily, whenever one or more creatures you control with power greater than its base power deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. That ability, I think, is mostly irrelevant outside of the second deck after Najeela that I think plays this, which is Sisay. And Sisay, conveniently, herself gets power boosts from Legends having colors, so you attack with your Sisay, that's 5 power, and you also get to draw a card, which is nice little upside. But yeah, I mean, it's a legendary Grand Abolisher that is a warrior, so it gets to play in Najeela and Sisay incredibly well, and then lastly, we'll probably see play in like Selesnya decks like Elevir.
Yeah, I think it also opens up the world of a world that no one wanted, but here we are, of a shy Rayhan.
Oh boy!
So I gotta go. Tell me what those cards. What does Rayhan do again? And
they're both +1/+1 commanders.
Okay.
And then, but no, I actually think this is a viable commander, and the reason why is I think an archetype that has not been explored that I think could be really cool is a deck that uses silence effects as ways to time walk and like stop your opponents. So like with commanders like this historically, I don't think there is another commander that has a silence
mono white.
That's not mono white. Like that has other colors to add to it. And so with this being a green-white deck, I would literally leverage every silence effect that I could find and throw it in this deck and then start silencing my opponents very proactively. This isn't me reserving silence for like the turn that they're doing. I'm not trying to combo off because I don't need to worry about my turns. I have my commander. But my opponent, like a play pattern I would probably do a lot is like turn 1, land pass, turn 2, on my opponent's turn 1 before me, I'm silencing them on their upkeep. And so like
in CDH in a 4-player format.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the reason why I've seen this be really successful when Golos Turbonos was a thing, where my opponent would silence to stop me developing, and so I couldn't cast my Ristic. I couldn't cast my like value engine, because that's where we are right now. A lot of people are doing value engines at sorcery speed. So if I can stop the player that I'm worried about, like if I'm playing against you, I know you like to have your value engine. So if I have a Gemstone Caverns and you go to upkeep, I'm just gonna silence you before you even get a chance to cast a spell, and then you're like, okay,
fuck you.
Yeah, right. You're like, fuck you, man. And then on my turn, I'm casting my commander, and then I'm set for the rest of the game, and I can keep using my silence effects. Because in this kind of deck, that's the only thing you really are good at. And then you can also run all these other like creatures that can help draw you cards. Like you can run Sarah's Ascendant. You can run. There's like other cards that you can run that like are good at low mana value, value that I think could be viable. But you know, and it's test untested, right? And I don't.
Could you just harden scales with this though?
Yeah.
Like you could just play like the walking ballistas and those effects, and like those will all draw you cards.
Yeah, and you can also play very sensitive combos in this deck because it's pretty safe.
Yeah, when I first saw this, I thought about it as a commander. I got excited because I'm like, okay, you know, I couldn't figure out how to break. I forget the name of the mono white card that is an abolisher that's legendary. I forget the name of it right now, but
Myrel.
Yeah, Morale. There it is.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, oh,
Myrel,
now I can combo off, and no one can do shit to stop me. And then I'm like, oh wait, how do I combo off in mono white? There's just nothing.
Heliod.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So then I'm like, oh, well now I get green, so I can combo. It should be at least another combo there somewhere, and there just isn't. Like,
there is tons. You just.
I mean, there are.
Yeah. You run like you run Savala, Savala, Marwyn, like all those like big creature combos. Like you just do that.
Infinite mana.
Yeah, you make infinite mana draw decks.
Mono green is a ton of infinite mana combos.
Well, everyone I've looked at requires A plus B to get infinite mana, then plus an outlet. That's
so,
saying. I mean that is the reality of this deck.
So
but the point of this deck is it also gets to be card advantage.
Yeah. So the other thing that you would do, like if you wanted to like make a infinite mana combo with this, you would just run, like if you run Savala, the Selesny one, Explorer Returned, and then you use. There's a Umbral Mantle.
Yeah.
Like that can get you there. There's a ton of ways to do it.
Right. You can, but like I said, the problem is, okay, it's A plus B. Okay, you've got infinite mana. Then you need the outlet, and your commander is not the outlet. So it's really an A.
Yeah, but Savala is the outlet.
Savala
is the outlet because she draws you cards.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So Savala would be the other one.
Yeah, and then Heliod. Well, then you have like Heliod Ballista. There's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you got me.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of combos that you can do, and like in green white there's a lot of things you can do, but it's a matter of figuring out how you're going to assemble it. But with, like I said, you can make it's pretty all the sensitive combos that hate interaction you don't have to worry about anymore. So I don't think
you know what
I mean,
unfortunately you know what other deck this card's really good in probably. It's Tayam.
What?
Yeah, Tayam.
It's interesting you say that because Tayam doesn't even run Grand Abolisher. Because Tayam is so often winning on other people's turns. Because the play pattern of Tayam is you hold up your Tayam activations.
Oh yeah.
And you wait to use them.
But
almost the same way in
Wheelie
Odd. Yeah. I mean, being able to draw cards with your plus one counter. I'm not saying that Time won't run this, but I'm saying I don't think Time runs this solely because it's a Grand Abolisher. Because like a lot of Time decks literally don't run Grand Abolisher.
Right, but the advantage is that Time has the counter synergies.
Yeah, no, like being able to also draw additional cards is nice.
Yeah.
Though you will see, like again, I think it's like they're gonna Time pilots that at least I have had conversations with. I would imagine they weight this lower than I think you guys are because. A lot of times you're playing against Time, like they will literally just crack an LED for a Time activation. They don't give a shit about their hand because, unlike Kinnan, where Kinnan you require to cast spells to win the game, there is no way to win the game 100% through Kinnan activations. That doesn't exist
unless you play
from like
deck,
a base standpoint.
Then yes.
Yeah, no. But I'm not even saying the like Thassa's Oracle line. But I'm saying like the fact is of like with Kinnan, if you're playing Kinnan. Any of our current like active Kinnan lists, there's no way to 100% win the game just through activation.
Yes, sir.
You can get the games into incredibly dominant state.
What are you talking about? I've explained this.
Oh, with Deadeye.
Yes,
with
I told
Deadeye.
you my list.
Okay,
that's why I was so confident.
Your
about
list
that.
can. Your list can with Deadeye Navigator. That is correct.
Yeah.
My list, it is not possible to win through kin activations. Even if I hit a Hullbreaker Horror, I have to cast spells. Even if I hit everything else I need, I still need to cast spells to get the win. Versus a Time deck wins 100% through time activations. You are literally activating time, and it is finding you your combo pieces to get more time activations.
Yeah, that's fair.
So they don't care about doing it on other people's turns, and they don't really care that much about drawing cards. They just care about time activation.
So I do
higher.
The OG Max. I think that was a long-winded way of saying like this might not go into Tie-Am, but I do think it does find homes in certain decks that do care about casting spells. I think this might find a home in Atraxa.
Interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I do like it in Atraxa. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at the card and I'm thinking about Will and Max again. I'm trying to think about like whether it would go in there, and I'm like, do I need more silence effects or do I have enough? I mean, if I'm running white, at that point I have Grand Abolisher, I have Ranger Captain, I have Morel if I want it, I have Silence itself, I have Abeyance if I really want it, I have there's just so many silence effects at this point. Like, I'm like, do I slot this in? Do I need another one?
So the decks that want this are one of three things. Because, like, obviously you already have Grand Abolisher, and generically speaking, Grand Abolisher is better. So the decks that want this are one of three things. They are using the fact that it's legendary, like Sisay. They are using the fact that it's a warrior, like Najeela.
Right.
Or they are using the fact that it can draw cards, like Elevir.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's not the best Grand Abolisher effect, so you have to be getting something more from it. So if it gives you something more, it's worth it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, all right. I think we've covered this card. I think we only have.
Well, I want to say one more thing.
Go on. Go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to circle back to the thing Hire said about just silencing people on their upkeep. And you know how sometimes you have a CDH game that you just never forget? One of my first ever games I played on online CDH, I will never forget this. I was third seat playing Kinnan. And I don't remember what the other decks were at all. But the player in first seat, when I went to start my turn one, this was like literally probably the fourth or fifth game I ever played online of CDH, I got silenced on my upkeep. And I was immediately like, what the fuck? like actively, why? I was so confused. And it was because I think I was the only low CMC commander, and then the guy in first seat went turn two, Draneth Magistrate.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so his mindset was stop you and then play the Draneth, which I wasn't even going to play a turn one Kinnan anyway. So it didn't matter at all. But I never forgot that. I'll never forget that silence. And I was just like so confused by it. But that play pattern is like stronger than people give it credit for.
Yeah.
Fucking up someone's development is huge. And that's part of why, I've been loving Trinisphere lately.
Yeah.
Every time you say that card, it makes me sad. Makes me sad.
Oh, Hire is the reason I play it. So get mad at him.
Sorry.
You're a terrible person. I'll never forgive you. Never.
Dude, Hire had been trying to convince me on Trinisphere since day fucking one. I was curious. The other day, I like actually was curious of the date of this, and I went back all the way through me and Hire's conversation, which took a lot of scrolling. Yeah. And I got to like fucking like May 2nd, which was where we randomly played against each other on the Reddit server. And that was how I met you. Like 3 or 4 days into me playing CDH. And I had a short conversation with you, and I was like, what do you do against this kind of deck? And you were just like, I tutor for Trinisphere as fast as possible. And you've been trying to get into Trinisphere since that day.
Yeah. And then you tried it like a month ago, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the truth. This is
you're both terrible people.
Absolute fucking truth. Oh my god.
Absolutely
we're just trying to make people play fair magic. Well, you know what I think when I play Trinisphere? You know what I'm thinking when I play Trinisphere on turn one and you can't do shit? You know exactly what I'm thinking in my head? Permission denied.
Nice. Oh, look at that. Nice segue. Nice segue. I like it.
Yeah. The final card, the last one that I've decided to include. I wanted to include several more, but Max made me cut them. The last card I have on our list that I was allowed to keep is Permission Denied, a white and a blue, 2 mana, instant counterspell that says counter target non-creature spell. Your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. I am torn on this card. I don't think it's that good. What do you guys think?
I think it. I think it has potential because it's basically it's a counterspell and a silence built into one card. The problem with it is it's Azorius, right? So how many decks are you storming off with Azorius? I mean, it's basically, Blue Farm is the only deck I can think of that really wants to do this. And even that, I think you just run more counter spells, or you run, you got your Grand Abolishers and so on. I don't think you need this card. I think it's one of those cards that's going to get tested a whole lot, and then it's just not going to stay. I don't think.
The thing that sucks is that this says counter target non-creature. Your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. So you need someone to try to interact with you first. So you have to have a spell that people want to counter.
Oh no! You cast a Lotus Petal, you hold priority, and then you counter your Lotus Petal.
If you're doing that, you're actively losing the
game. What? Why?
That's actually hilarious.
Like, you see what I mean? Like this is
a lot of work.
You need a bait spell to make this work. That's the only thing I don't like about it. I do like what this does. I do like that, like, if you cast this on your opponent's turn, like, it's like, oh, yep, like, not only was your Underworld Breach countered, but you can't do anything else. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I mean, you get those you get those stack wars where someone's cast a spell, and you're like, okay, I cast a pact, and they're like, okay, that pact will resolve, right? And then they go back to that on the stack again. This turns that whole play pattern off, right? Because you cast your first spell, I cast permission denied. You have to interact. You can't let permission denied resolved and then try for another win con, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you have to deal with it
true.
right then and there.
I actually like that a lot.
So that's I think that's the upside to it. I still think, like, if we're not playing Dovin's Veto, and I don't think Dovin's Veto is very good in the format right now. I have a hard time imagining permission denied making it into the suite of counter spells, because there's just so many other better ones right now.
That's fair.
Yeah. Great flavor text though.
Great flavor.
You didn't say the magic word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. I thought this card was cool. I like the design, and I also like the art. Samuel Jackson's now going to be in a Magic deck. I'm really excited about that.
It's in a Magic
deck. I know, right? I gotta find. Yeah, I want to play it just for that reason alone. I really do. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Awesome.
All right.
We did it.
We did it.
Quick bonus round. I need just give me 30 seconds to go off here, Max. I'm just gonna give you some extra work to put stuff on the fucking page. You ready?
Jesus, go ahead.
All right. Card you made me cut that I'm the most excited about. Charismatic Conqueror, mono white, 1 and a white, creature, vampire soldier, vigilance, 2/2. Whenever an artifact or creature enters the battlefield under an untapped and under an opponent's control, they may tap that permanent. If they don't, which they never will, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. This is a 2-mana creature that makes a fucking army. Oh, you made a dockside that made 8 treasures? Would you like to give me 8 1/1s? I know it doesn't win the game by itself, and I know it's not immediate, but the amount of sack fodder and synergy this has is kind of wild, and I wish I hadn't cut the card from the list. Then I have 2 more that I have to shout out for flavor. First one, Don't Move. It is from the Jurassic collection. It's 3 double white sorcery. Destroy all tapped creatures until your next turn. Whenever a creature becomes tapped, destroy it. That is such good flavor. Like, when the Q-X is there and you're not allowed to move, that card is so fucking sick. That card is so sick. And then my favorite, the best flavor card from the whole set. The whole set, 100%, is this one right here. I've scrolled to it. I'm going to find it. Okay, I found it. It's called Swooping Pteranodon. Swooping Pteranodon. 3 red white creature dinosaur, 3/3 flying haste. So this is the pterodactyls that come and swoop and pick you up. All right. So whenever Swooping Pteranodon or pterodactyl, whatever the fuck it is, or another dinosaur is flying, enters the battlefield under your control, gain control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. So you've stolen it. Untap that creature. It gains flying and haste until end of turn. At the beginning of the next end step, target land deals 3 damage to that creature. So you swoop it up, you steal it, and then you drop them on the ground.
Yep.
That shit is fucking hysterical. I'm sorry. I love that card. It's so cool. It's never going to see play, but it's amazing. The flavor is so good.
Yeah. Adorable.
All right.
Awesome.
Enjoy putting those on the screen.
Fuck you very much. Thank you. Well, the other problem is, the reason I didn't want to talk about Charismatic Conqueror is because I fucking love that card, and I'm putting 4 copies of it in my vampire deck. But
Sick.
Yeah.
But anyway, Higher, thanks for joining us, man. This is a good conversation. We got to have you on again. This is a good time.
Yeah, man, I had a great time. Thank y'all for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So with that, Max, you want to take us out?
Thank you so much for listening to the Colors Are Crush podcast. I'm Max Sternberg, aka Wounded Satellite. I was joined, of course, by my amazing co-host, Max P. the Italian Man, and by a wonderful friend of ours, friend of the show, Alex Higher from Playing with Power. We are now on Spotify. You guys can finally listen to us there. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.